All right, folks, we're talking about Kyle Larson and his attempt at the double later this year, the Indy 500 Coke 600 double, right? Bob Pockrass revealed that Larson has been saying for months that he is willing to sacrifice an appearance in the Fast 12 to race in the All Star Race, which will be held that same day. And ever since Bob tweeted this out, a lot of people in the quotes and in the comments, including myself, were somewhat bewildered that Kyle would make such a decision. And I was originally going to title this video, Kyle Larson is making a big mistake. But I've decided to not call it that. I'm calling it, Is Kyle Larson making a big mistake? Now, I needed a reference personally for me to speak on this properly, and the only reference I could use was 2014, because that's when Busch did the double, and Kurt himself was faced with the same scenario. Indy 500 qualifying was held on the same day as the All Star Race, and what Kurt did was he qualified, but he didn't do all the runs he could have done. Kurt could have stayed at Indy longer and done more runs, but he didn't because he wanted to get to the drivers' meeting for the All-Star Race so that he wouldn't be penalized enough to start at the back. And he did say that in an interview. He prioritized NASCAR. He said, I'm going to show some respect to NASCAR. I've made a decent quali. I'm not in danger of missing out. Was there even bump day that year? I don't remember. But he realized he wasn't in danger of dropping out of the race, so he left early, even while people were still qualifying, and he went to Charlotte. He made the drivers' meeting, he did the All-Star Race, and he came 11th. The difference is, in this scenario, the All-Star Race is being held on the same day as Fast 12 and Bump Day. The difference is, if Larson qualifies between 13th and let's say 28th, then he, in theory, doesn't need to be, if I remember this correctly, he won't need to be at Fast 12 quali. He wouldn't play a role in any of that, yes? However, if he is in danger of being bumped, if he qualifies low and there are more than 33 cars in the field, he will have to be there for bump day, which I believe it's not the last part of the day. Pole is the last part of the day, finding out who wins pole. So figuring out who makes the race takes place before that. But if he is in Fast 12, he says he's going to willingly sacrifice participating in that extra shootout session to go race at North Wilkesboro. And it is worth noting, North Wilkesboro is closer to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway than Charlotte is. Granted, I don't know the logistics as it regards where he would land, if he's taking a helicopter or a jet. I don't know where he would land. I don't know if there are external factors that would actually make it take longer for him to get to the track than if it was Charlotte. I don't know. But as it regards the raw proximity, North Wilkesboro is closer to Indy than Charlotte is. So in theory, this should be an easier trip. Yes? Now, at the moment, upon reading it, I was like, Kyle, you're being silly. What the hell? Why would you sacrifice a Fast 12, a potential pole position for the Indy 500, just to go race the All-Star Race that you can race in every year for the rest of your life, or the rest of your career, rather? Why? Yeah? But I will say this, yes? The reason I changed the video title from Kyle Larson is making a big mistake to Is Kyle Larson making a big mistake is that I don't think this is as one-sided an argument as we are making ourselves to believe. I think, at least from Kyle's perspective, there is somewhat of a justified reason for not wanting to participate in Fast 12 and instead prioritizing the All-Star Race. Listen, folks, $1 million is a lot of money. Yeah? $1 million US could change all of our lives in the snap of a finger. And if Kyle doesn't see himself in a position to gain anything from Fast 12, and potentially risk a chance of winning $1 million, then I personally believe he's well within his right as a racing driver that has free will to make that choice. A lot of people are saying he's disrespecting the 500 by not participating in Fast 12. Nah, I don't really see it as that deep. I can somewhat see your point, but I don't see it as that deep, yeah? I think Larson is well within his rights to prioritize winning $1 million over starting maybe one spot higher in the Indy 500. Yes? Especially when you take into consideration the fact that he won the North Wilkesboro All Star Race last year. And granted, this is a new North Wilkesboro compared to the track that they raced on last year. But surely, after last year's performance, Kyle Larson is still the favorite to win. He's not just some random guy in some random car. He is driving equipment that could legitimately win the All Star Race. And I think if he wants to go chase that million, he's well within his rights to do so. My opinion on this has completely changed from when I first saw it. However, if it were me, would I do Fast 12 over North Wilkesboro if I had the option? If there was no choice, if there was only a chance to do one, what would I choose? The reason I personally would choose Fast 12 is because I would want more time in a vehicle that I am not used to competing in, and in a series that I am a foreigner to. Them extra 4 laps could teach me something that could be important for the race, or maybe it won't, given that quali setup and race setup are two very different things. But it can't hurt doing extra laps around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, can it? However, I am not Kyle Larson. If I was a guy that was in a car that could legitimately win the All-Star race, maybe my opinion would change. Yes? Maybe my opinion would change. And I want to scrap the DNQ rumors, because there is absolutely no way in this life, if Larson was at risk of not making the race, he'd just not show up. He'd just go to North Wilkesboro and completely cancel this whole double. There's no way that's going to happen. Yeah? That's not happening. There's no way that would happen. Even if he was deluded enough to make a choice like that, there's no way Rick Hendrick or Arrow McLaren would allow Larson to do something that silly. And I think Larson, with his racer brain, would not allow himself to do something that silly either. So I don't even think that's a factor. I'm going to put it on the thumbnail for click. I'm going to put it on the thumbnail for the clicks. But there's no realistic way that happens. Yeah? And I don't really know why people are bringing it up as something that could happen. No one is that dumb. Yeah? But in conclusion, I am no longer as one-sided about this argument as I once was. But what do you think? If I can put a poll in this, video, I will. But that's what the comment section is for you to explain your choice. If you were Kyle Larson, would you participate, and you only had one chance, one opportunity to do either? Would you do Fast 12 or would you do the All-Star race? Let's discuss down below. Intern out.